The candle trembles first. In the darkness of a northern Thai cave, its flame leans over a row of scrolls sealed in wax. The air smells of resin and something older, the faint musk of parchment that was once alive. These pages are not palm leaves or paper. They are pale and fibrous, the texture of a whisper. For centuries, the monks of Lanna guarded them, calling them Tamra Nang Nai, the books within skin. To read one was to touch a teaching that still remembered a pulse. To write one was to accept that the body itself could preach. The palm of dust. In early Lanna, scripture lived on palm leaves, strips carved with a stylus, blackened with soot, bound with thread. The Bai Lan manuscripts could survive a generation before heat and insects erased them. Each recopying became an act of rebirth, a ritual of impermanence. As the monsoons rotted libraries, monks asked, if the Dharma is eternal, why should its form decay so quickly? Scribes began to boil animal hides for glue, stretching and smoothing them with clay. The first Tamra Nang, skin texts, were crude, but they endured. Monks called them palm leaves reborn. A chronicle from 1463 records Abbot Fra Namatha writing, "We have found a page that does not crumble. It carries letters as flesh carries breath." Skin absorbed ink differently. Letters softened at the edges, breathing like living words. Held to candlelight, they seemed faintly alive. Inscription became meditation, each stroke a confession that even enlightenment depends on what will vanish. By the century's end, monasteries preserved key texts, the Phra Malai and Jataka tales, on calfskin and parchment. None yet used human material, but the thought had taken root. If the words could survive through skin, perhaps the truest devotion was to offer one's own. The cured scrolls of Chiang Mai. Under King Phra Muang Ket Klau, Chiang Mai glowed with gold stupas and smoke-blue libraries. In the monastic quarter near Wat Phra Singh, scribes worked by oil lamp, copying sutras onto treated hide. Each layer was sanded with ash, sealed with tamarind resin, and lacquered until it gleamed. The result? Scrolls that resisted humidity and time, but with permanence came temptation. The body was close, in metaphor, in materials, in the thought that what decays most swiftly might preserve best. A record from 1589 tells of a scribe who, during an epidemic, prepared parchment from the arm of a deceased monk. He inscribed the Sermon of Impermanence. When the abbot found it, he did not condemn the act. He wrapped the scroll in silk and said, "This body has served the Dharma twice." Soon, a few monasteries accepted such donations. Skin offered at death, tanned, inscribed, and sealed in reliquaries. It was not horror but humility. The donors believed that by giving their flesh, they erased ego, turning themselves into vessels for teaching. When asked why, one abbot answered simply, "If the Dharma can live in leaves and bark, why not in what has already lived?" The process became ritual. Skin was washed in scented water, rubbed with salt, coated in herbs. The script, curling Tai Tum, was written in soot and gold, short texts only, blessings, chants, single sutras. Monks meditated with these scrolls, tracing the faint grooves of letters that had once belonged to a teacher or friend. Disgust, they said, was misunderstanding. Decay was not corruption, it was instruction. The surface that once felt pain could now carry peace. In time, sets of these cured scrolls were sealed in boxes, wrapped in turmeric-dyed silk. Some temples built vaults for them, small wax-lined rooms of silence. They called them Tamra Nop Phra Nang, noble scrolls of skin. For centuries they slept beneath lacquer and prayer, darkening but never fading. When Ayutthayan travelers later recoiled at the idea, the Chiang Mai monks only smiled. The body is a brief manuscript. It was always meant to be written upon. The monk of 3 layers. In the hills of Chiang Rai, villagers spoke of a monk who carried no scripture, yet glowed faintly in moonlight. When asked why, he said, "I have no need to read what I already carry." His name was Phra Kam, remembered as the monk of 3 layers. The name came from what he left behind. Records from around 1610 CE describe him as a master calligrapher. In old age, he began to inscribe his own body, one verse each night, written in ink of soot, sesame oil, and gold dust. Over years, his skin became scripture. He said he wished to clothe himself in the Dharma. When illness came, disciples begged him to stop. He smiled. The text and the body will fade together. That is their teaching. After his death, the monks bathed him, wrapped him in saffron, and saw that the ink had sunk deep. Even beneath the first layer of flesh, letters glimmered faintly. At cremation, fragments of bone still shimmered with gold. The abbot declared that Phra Kam had achieved triple merit. He had written, embodied, and released the teaching. His ashes were enshrined in a stupa called Phra Tam Kon, the scripture of flesh, the secret chamber of Wat Umong. At Chiang Mai's forest edge stands Wat Umong, known for its tunnels and echoing halls. Its walls bear painted proverbs for wandering monks, but beneath those tunnels lies another story. By the 1650s, the use of skin manuscripts had nearly vanished, condemned as superstition by some, defended by others as the purest devotion. A group of monks at Wat Umong, fearing the scrolls would be lost, decided to preserve them one final time. They gathered the Tamra Nang of Chiang Mai and sealed them in a vault beneath the meditation hall. The chamber was brick-lined and beeswax-coated to repel humidity. Each scroll was wrapped in saffron, sealed with lacquer, and stacked by moonlight. When the last torch burned low, the abbot spoke. "Let these words decay in peace, for even decay can teach the way." The entrance was sealed. Outside, the practice faded into rumor. Palm manuscripts returned, varnished with copper pigments. Empires rose and fell. Lanna became a memory within Siam. Beneath the forest, the vault remained, silent, intact. In 1887, under King Chulalongkorn, restoration workers clearing an overgrown tunnel broke through a wall of wax. Inside were shelves of darkened scrolls stacked like sleeping bodies. The parchment was brittle but legible. To this day, certain manuscripts in Chiang Mai are kept unseen, too fragile, too sacred, or perhaps too human. When asked why, a senior monk said only, "These pages are not to be read. They are to be remembered." The lost library of the Flesh Sutra. Morning light spills across the museum's conservation wing. In a climate-controlled hush, a curator opens a drawer labeled Unidentified Parchment. Inside lie fragments the color of pressed tea, delicate, translucent. Some curve as if once wrapped around an arm or shoulder. Under ultraviolet light, faint Tai Tam script appears. Pieces of the Metta Sutta. May all beings be happy. May they be safe. At first, experts assumed the parchment was animal vellum from Burma, but collagen analysis revealed the truth: human origin. The discovery was never announced publicly. The file reads quietly, possible Lanna origin, ritual offering, not funerary. No one knows how these fragments arrived. Perhaps retrieved from Wat Umong, perhaps traded from Luang Prabang. Wherever they traveled, they survived 5 centuries of reign and neglect. In 2016, under magnification, a technician found a hidden line shimmering in gold dust. The teaching is not in the letter, but in the letting go. Researchers named it the Flesh Sutra. Its sentence, anonymous, almost weightless, captured what the Lanna monks had always meant. Reproductions now appear in small exhibits, their translations etched on glass so visitors can see through them. The originals rest in darkness, drawers opened once a year. When lifted, the parchment curls slightly, as if remembering the body it once was. For the monks who made them, these were not relics, but practice. Meditation turned material. Each page carried one lesson. The path to awakening passes through acceptance, and acceptance must touch what is impermanent. Visitors who stand before the replicas often fall silent. The skin libraries are not stories of horror but of intimacy, attempts to make wisdom tangible, to let faith live on the same fragile surface as breath. In the humid valleys of old Lanna, where palm leaves decayed faster than memory, monks turned to the one medium that mirrored impermanence perfectly, the body. From 15th century palm manuscripts to 21st century museum drawers, every stage carries the same insight. Permanence is illusion. Meaning endures. To preserve truth is not to trap it, but to let it pass through change. When the Buddha taught of the khandha, body, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, he warned that clinging to any brings suffering. The Lanna scribes wrote upon the one aggregate most fleeting, turning mortality itself into scripture. To modern eyes, writing on skin feels unbearable, desecration. To those monks, it was gratitude. The body offered one last time to serve the Dharma, a gift to impermanence itself. Every faith seeks to make spirit visible. The Lanna scribes made it touchable. Their scrolls, half organic, half luminous, remind us that enlightenment is not escape from decay, but peace with it. In the forests around Chiang Mai, monks still copy sutras onto paper dusted with ground bone or ash, a symbolic echo of their ancestors. They say the texture absorbs ink more gently. The words appear softer, more human. Asked about the past, an abbot smiles. We do not write on skin anymore. We write on what the skin has become. Dust, the candle gutters beside a scroll. Gold letters breathe as the flame flickers. Outside, cicadas rise. A final whisper lingers. Everything written upon the body will fade, but if compassion is the ink, it will not. When the flame dies, darkness becomes the page. Quiet, blank, waiting to be written on again.